DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool. Tonight's DJNTV show is sponsored in part by Electro Voice, DJ Event Planner, ADJ, NLFX Professional, Promo Only, Newmark, and DJNTV Insiders.
We are live. We are now broadcasting across the entire world. Think about this. People on the other side of this big ball we call Earth could be watching us right now. Probably aren't, but they could.
Makes you wonder.
Isn't there a song like that? Makes you wonder. But hey, let's talk music.
That would be our good friend Freedom Williams.
It would be.
Yeah.
The Freedom Williams that I saw was the guy who could carry a thing of whiskey in one hand and a mic in the other, and he wasn't sure which one he spent more time with. But anyway, it's time to talk DJ software tonight. And we are up on, I believe, yes, we are on. Facebook is streaming. YouTube is going. We've got some folks in there. Yay. Awesome. So MJ, give us kind of the lowdown where we're going to start, what we're going to do, and let's take it from there.
I'm taking, since this normally is an open question, the last Wednesday of the month is always the open question night. So that means you can ask me anything, but I wanted to make this one specifically open questions towards software. So it can be anything, literally, about software. First person's going to ask, what kind of mic cord do you use?
Well, actually, I have a question. Michael and I were talking about this earlier. And it was part of what happened this afternoon, but it's not going to be that, we're not going to go there. Can you, in virtual, designate to go out the headphone jack with your audio and yet still control everything with the controller? If you follow me, still controlling the volume between
you want the headphone out to be your main
The main out, yes. Just in case you have
Yeah. Yeah, you would go into, I'll do a quick share. I'm not going to do it very well, though, but you would go in, everyone see what I'm doing here?
Yep, there it is. It's up.
You would go into your config, and then in here where your master outs are, you can choose something for that in there. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Channel 1, channel 2, and you would plug it in and out. Now, the output of the headphone strength and ohmage and stuff like that, you might need to run it through an amp of some sort.
To really do anything.
I don't know how well that would sound going directly to even a powered speaker. But it's definitely doable. I mean, because remember back in the days we used to use the headphones for the microphone. So you've seen that, right?
Oh, of course. I've done it, actually.
Okay, yeah. I was going to make sure, because some people, because I told someone about it, they're like, what? Like, no, seriously, it works.
Yeah, not very well.
I saw a guy at this year's Red Bull 3 style event, okay? And, you've seen the guys like Peter Frampton back in the days where he had the tube that made that wow, wow, wow sound he held in his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He took his headphones, pushed them up by his mouth, put that tube there. The headphones were hooked in as a mic, and that picked up his sound as he was scratching the sound, and that microphone feeding, the headphones feeding down as a mic, but that wow is right there, and he had the headphones pulled off to the side this way and doing a scratching while he's wow. So it's very doable.
Interesting.
Lots of things, lots of crazy things you can do out there. People got to think outside the box.
Good.
That's where I think you see some of the greatest things. You go watch the DJ competitions, is the stuff that people will be creative with, stuff they'll add on to their setup that you would never think to set up, but it was like, holy crap, that really works well, so cool.
Keith,
what's the best way to back up
your
music onto another hard drive and still keep your virtual DJ folders and data? I drag and drop. I mean, I seriously, is it still down here? I have this one over here because I think I have two here in the studio right now. I don't know where it's at, but it's just next to our hard drive. I just drag and drop. And here's two ways to do it. I drag and drop, including the data folders that are within virtual that have all your skins, all your play counts, all your cue points, all that data information gets drug over. But there's also a plugin at the virtual DJ site that you can get that does a ghost backup, and it's designed to back up your virtual to another computer. It's literally a plugin that's made to do that.
A plugin that you would plug it in as far as it's like it's in the program itself. So virtual then will do it itself.
Let me see if I can find it while we're chit-chatting here.
Because I'd be very interested, because I went the other day, I went from a 2 terabyte hard drive to a 4 terabyte hard drive. And it's like, okay, I drag and drop all my music, but then my playlist and some of the other stuff didn't go across. And it's like, well,
you have to get those from the data area too.
There must have been another folder that I missed.
Everything has to go. Well, they're all in with the one virtual folder. So we're going to go into add-ons here. I'm going to share. See if I can. I don't know if I'm going to find it. I'm going to share. There's no guarantee that I'm going to find it here.
We've got a few good questions coming up here, MJ.
All right. So I'm in the download area here, and I want to go into downloads, add-ons.
Yeah, that was.
And then we're going to go into other, and then. It might be that one into my library. I can't remember what it's called, but these are plugins that you would download, and then they would give you a thing that you would then back across. PC Optimizer. These are all, again, things that just you add on. They're free from virtual. If you have a virtual license, you can get them. I can't remember. Let me see if I can just do a search for backup. I don't know if it's one word or two words. Simple backup. There it is. And that's what you would do, and it would back everything up identical to what you do. And there's also a tool in there that if you have two different computers, and let's say all your DJ stuff is on drive D on one computer, and the other one it's E, there's a tool in here where you can make the database that you're transferring over work with E. So it would change everything from D to E, so it would all match identically on the second computer. But there, like I said, once you dig around virtuals, all their things, there's so freaking much in there that you can do. That's why I like it, because if I go, oh, gee, I wish I had this, or I wish I could do this, it's there.
Mm-hmm.
I promise you someone's done something somewhere for it. So that's how I do it. But I usually just drag and drop straight folders. All my music is in an area, and then I grab the entire virtual database, which their virtual database will cover everything from my history, cue points, play counts, skins, effects. What all is in there? Give me 10 seconds here. I can actually show it to you. I'm sure you've probably seen it. There's no need really necessarily for me to do this, but I'm going to do it anyways. All right. So right here. All right. So this is what all I would carry over. It's under virtual DJ. And all of these go over. Even when Spotify was there was Spotify information that's in there.
Yep.
And all of that I transfer all of this over as one big folder that's right here, virtual DJ. All of that gets transferred over, because you're going to get your settings are in there, your databases, crash reports, track lists, everything is in here.
Mm-hmm.
And just transfer it over. Cool.
Yeah, very nice.
Next question, John.
Look at that. Let's see. I'm going to make sure I'm not missing anything. The Denon interface, I think we've talked a little bit about that. Maybe it was off camera. We talked about the interface, and somebody was wondering if it was worth going with that interface.
Talking about engine?
The Denon, the DS1 is what they have here.
Let me look it up here. That's an old thing, isn't it?
I think it's...
Oh, the Serato box. That's their Serato box.
Yeah.
Duh.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I had it in the studio for a while. It's the exact same thing as the Serato box. So if you have a Serato SL box that works, there's no necessarily need to change over. The only advantages this has is that it's much smaller, it's cheaper, and it's made out of metal. So there's your advantages. So I don't see any advantages between the two, other than it is physically smaller, it does cost less, and it's made out of metal. That's about it.
Okay. Quick and easy.
So if you're new to buy one and you don't have a lot of money, this is a good option. But you can also buy used SL boxes right and left.
Gregory has a question using an HDMI out from the computer to run a video monitor, and the audio comes through the TV and not through the sound equipment. How can they fix that?
That goes back into settings because you would want to go. I'm going back into the folder here. And again, tonight you're going to get my skin. You're not going to get anybody's skin but mine. So, are you? Here's the next question. Before let me exit this here and come back. Are you running through a controller is the question. Because if you're running through a controller, the software will then route the sound automatically. But if you're coming out of the sound out of the laptop and no controller.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's a different story. I would answer that first by saying use a controller or stop DJing. But if you don't have a controller to use, I'm sure there's a way around that, but I don't know because I've never, ever done that. I've never spun ever without something hooked to the computer.
That's very funny that you say that because that was Michael, my 15-year-old, as he was watching today. He's like, so if my controller goes down, I don't want a DJ. It's like, no, that's not.
I would tell him if I was standing there. I would tell him, well, that's okay because you wouldn't be DJing.
Yeah, you really wouldn't
be
just
playing music.
Yeah. Precisely. That was the. Well, there becomes this hierarchy of what has to happen, and we went through that. Yeah, that was funny.
So there is ways you can make the sound come out of the laptop, but to do video out, I think there's a setting in there because I know there's a setting in there that when I do video loops, and that I can shut the sound off for the video loops, so the video loops will run even though the video loops might have sound on them, I can run them to where they are video only. So there is a way to set that up. I don't see why it shouldn't be that hard. In that same setting place that I went before, you're going to go into your config over there, and in this here, I'm guessing you would designate an out being for probably it would be like one of these, like an Intel or whatever the sound card you have internally. You would use one of those, and that should capture over the sound to bypass the HDMI out sound. There's no reason why that shouldn't work that way. So, because I do video all the time, and I run straight HDMI. I'm actually literally running straight HDMI tonight to the monitor. It's coming out of HDMI into my second monitor that I'm running tonight, and sound is coming from a third sound card. So it's not the computer sound card that it's coming out of tonight you're hearing, and it's not because I have the 6000 MK2 hooked up. Sound's not coming out of there. It's coming out of my USB mixer. So I designate which thing I want it to, and that's the advantage again over Serato. I have nothing against Serato. Serato's awesome, but that's one of the advantages that Serato, I can't choose which sound I want it to come out of. So this setup I have right here to where I'm running sound out of that USB mixer, I can't do that with Serato. But with virtual, I literally can choose if I want the headphones to come out of the computer, the sound to come out of there, and whatever. I can designate 3 different zones with that same setup. So there you go.
Next one, Mickey was asking, what is the easiest DJ software for a new DJ to use that has limited computer experience?
I would probably say Algorithm because theirs is both computer, or let's just say laptop and tablet usable.
Yes.
And that would give you a good start. Their tablet app works very well. Probably the best DJ app I've ever tried. I actually know guys that will use it. This is funny because before they started putting out controllers that had multiple USB plugs or mixers that had multiple USB, so DJs would be switching out, they would plug in their phone with Algorithm on the phone, take a song on the phone, beat match it to what's playing on the one deck. Once it gets beat matched, they mix, unplug the computer, plug the other guy's computer in, and then he beat matches to what's going on the phone on Algorithm. And it's a seamless transition that way. So I would say that would work. Somebody said Megaseg. Again, it's not DJing. If you just want to play music, fine, Megaseg will do, but it will also not do if you're using PC because it's a Mac only software. So it's good. I think Virtual's pretty simple. I think it is, but if you want to go super simple, a good place to start would be Algorithm. But then again, that also possibly limits you with what hardware you want to plug in. I'm not saying it has limitations. I'm definitely not saying that. I'm saying that it's not going to be as friendly as like virtual Serato is when it comes to just plugging an external mixer or something into it. But that's a good place to start, I think, in my opinion.
Let's see. Reggie asked something about remapping a drive. Does a person remap a drive when you're moving music over?
That's where that plugin I told you comes from. To where, like I said, that if I had computer A where all my music is on drive C and computer B where all my music is on D, and I would drag across that file that I showed you a little bit ago with all the things, everything now would be looking for drive C, and while all the info that I transferred over would be in D. So you would get that little plugin to then rewrite that as a transfer, because I think it does it as a transfer, not necessarily as a copy and a tool you use, but it would then label everything to D. Or there is one in there I know also that, let's say it's D in here and E over here, but you have no D on the second computer, you can relabel E to D so they match.
And that's the... Okay.
So there's a couple of steps there you can do, but there's always an option.
Okay. Let's see. Keith was wondering how often you back up your music.
My goal, and it should be more than this, but my goal is twice a year, and it should be way more than that. I would say once a quarter, because think about how many songs you download per month, and that's how far you would be behind, in my opinion. I'm trying to figure out a way, because I do pay for Google Drive. They're 1 terabyte, because I use that as a full backup on my system. So as I'm working, doing videos for Disc Jockey News or whatever, I constantly have a running backup live online of everything.
Sure.
But it's not going to be enough unless I pay another, I think it's $10 a month or whatever it is to keep all my music online also.
Sure.
So what I do is I have the desktop with it here. I have the backup computer, which is this beater old computer that has it in there. I have a 1 terabyte here in the studio that it goes on, and a 2 terabyte that has a lot of the other stuff that I don't take with me live out in it, and that is at a friend's house. So that if my house were to ever burn down, I still have a full backup offsite.
Sure.
But you could do the same with doing a cloud drive if you wanted to pay the extra money. It's the same thing. It's good to have both, because you can go to the store and buy a computer and have it in your house the next day, within 24 hours, have your software loaded and something in there. But how long would it take you to get your music library back up and running? Quite a while, probably.
Very much so, yeah.
And that includes, when you do that backup, always back up all what we showed before, all the skins and your history and all that. Make sure that's all copied over. So it's a seamless jump, because I had 2 or 3 years ago, the DJ computer I had for 7 years, and the screen went on it. And because I had a backup, literally the next day, that happened on a Thursday at a gig. I had a gig on Friday. I took that beater computer over there, hooked it up, hooked the other hard drive on, and I was instantly back to where I was before. That quick. So there was, because I even had a friend of mine, I'm not going to mention his name. If he's watching, you know who you are, called me up one day. He goes, can I have your hard drive? I'm like, why? What's up? He goes, my computer crashed. I'm like, well, where's your backup? He goes, well, I really don't have a backup. I'm like, what? You didn't back up? He goes, I did, but it's all on just a drive at home. It's not on something I can take with me. I'm like, what?
Whoops.
I'm like, that's not a smart thing to do. So have that backup. It's better to have that than to not have that, to be a pain and go through all the whole process than to not have it. So I'm rambling a lot tonight.
Matt wants to know, demonstrate, if you would, cloning one side to the other side on Virtual DJ.
Song-wise, do you mean?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, that's easy to do. Let me share here. You're going to make me do this on the regular skin, aren't you?
I was just going to say, we really should switch to the regular skin.
Oh, man. All right, so I'm going to clear both of these out on my skin here. And for those of you who saw me do this before, right-clicking on the stop button empties the deck. So we're going to switch skins. Boo. It's probably in the same spot. I don't even know if it's in the same spot. So we're on the default now. All right, so I'm going to load Shake It Off on the left deck. And if I go to the scratch, because you have your different mixers here that you can pick from, master, whatever, under scratch, it's right here.
Okay.
So if I want to put this over, and I'm going to turn this down just a little bit. Where's my volume at there? Bring both of these down just a little bit. All right, so I'm playing 2.2. So if I want to do the clone, and let's say I wanted to free this deck up, I would press the clone and then pull the volume down on the left side. So I'm going to do this from over here. Yeah, so here's my physical volumes I'm moving. So I would clone it, and it will continue playing cloned. Then pull that down. Then I can stop this.
Sure, and then you're on the other side.
And that's literally all there is to it.
Now, on your skin, the one that you've customized, where is the clone?
It's the same spot. It's just down below a little bit further. So if I wanted to bring that over back to the scratch, it's just down here to the right and the left of that. So just boop.
So it's going to be somewhere in those vicinities, most likely.
Yeah, most of the people who make the skins try to make stuff in the general same area, so that if you look in the video area for a drop down of your transitions, it's going to be generally in the same area. Same for mixer, you're looking for a gain, or your master looking for different things in here. They're all going to be generally in the same area. And with Serato, button the same way that just does it. I don't remember what the shortcut is on Serato. Please forgive me, but there's a double tap of something on your keyboard on Serato that clones. There's probably one for virtual too, but I've never done it. I'm guaranteed there's probably a keyboard shortcut the same way that will clone it without having to go in with the pointer and the mouse. Yeah.
Next question, Dave was asking about, are there any controllers that allow a person to use 2 laptops and 2 different programs?
Yes. I can probably, there's almost all of them that have 2 USB drives. USB drives, USB ports. Connections, sound cards can do that. Because when I got the 7000 over a year ago, I wanted to test it because they said you could. And my friend Ryan came out and hung out with me one Friday night. And he was going to come and visit me. He wanted to see the controller. I'm like, well, bring your laptop. I want to hook them both up. You can run Serato, and he had Serato on Mac, and I had virtual on PC. We plugged them in, and literally with both the 7000 and the 8000, it's a button per deck.
Yeah.
So when we were both plugged in, I'm playing, I got control of both decks. He presses the button on the left deck, switches over to his computer. So now his computer has control on the left deck. I have control on the right. He did his mix. When he got his mix over, we shut me off, pressed the button, then he had control over both decks. And it's literally bop, bop, that quick. I mean, just jump back and forth. And we could have spent the whole night with me on one side, him on the other even. And there's like pretty much any Pioneer, all of those will have that ability. Any ones that have the double have that ability.
Okay.
Double click the scroll knob for Serato. Yeah. Like I said, there's a keyboard option too on Serato. I can never remember what it's a double tap something, and I can never remember freaking what it is that will then clone it. Sorry that I don't remember that.
Hey, I think we've caught up on our questions. Oh, let me pop over to Facebook here. I'm gonna have to go to my phone.
Yeah, for those of you on Facebook, sorry, or on YouTube, we're doing that. And for those of you who maybe this is the first time watching the show, each week I try to do something. The show's called Music and Mixing, and it's basically a show oriented towards the mixed DJ. And even a lot of stuff we cover is the super uber basic beginnings of a mixed DJ. And I try to cover different things each week. One week we try to stuff about songs for mixing. Another week we talk about actual physical mixing techniques. Another one I show software tips and tricks, different things like that. And then the final one is an open question. But I just felt like making tonight's open question night about software. I don't know why. I just did.
Yeah.
So please keep firing away the questions if you have them either way, or if you have my Facebook, you can send them there. I'll try to read that if you don't feel like typing in.
Yeah, I just popped over to the Facebook, and for some reason my phone is not showing any of the comments, and there are a few comments on Facebook, but Johnny Dutcher there had shared a couple of things, and it's like
what I can talk about here. This is the question I get asked the most. Where do you get how do you get that logo on your skin?
Yeah.
So I'm going to address that tonight real quick. Again, I did it a few weeks ago, and I'm going to show it again. For those of you who know, right here in the center of the different decks, and it literally spins along with the song. To some people, that's annoying, but most of the time when I'm mixing, I'm not necessarily looking at this area aside from the time left on the song and the BPM. That's pretty much, and also with the skins, you can customize what's there. So if you didn't want to see the time left, you only wanted to see the time remaining, or you didn't want to even see that, with these skins, you can remove that. So I could have that where there's no information there if I chose to. So that's what's there. And basically all it is that if I go into, bring up here, we're going to go back where all of those files were before. Did it change over, John?
Yep.
All right. So back where all of those files that we talked on before, and I'm going to go into skins now. And each one of these that are zipped is the ones that were created by someone, and they put them in zip folders, and everything goes in there, including the XML file, as you can see right here. And the XML file is just basic information. Let me pop this up here, and we're going to open with, where's my open with? Open with WordPad. And you'll see how it's just coding, okay?
Yep.
That tells it what to do, and it's part of the MIDI mapping. So these are some of the codes that are MIDI mapping, giving you positions, plus or minus, and stuff like that for the different buttons. So that is inside of the zip file. It's going to show both. So we're going to have the XML file, and we're going to have the PNG, or some of them are BMP files, which is nothing more than a picture, is all it is.
Sure.
So if we go into, these are the previews. So we want the image. I want the image 1, I think. So I'm going to open up image 1, see if it's the right one. Yeah, so I put my logo. 2 of the things you have to do is see the color there, the blue. You have to color what you want it to be colored in the area, and then you put the negative over here to see the little logo to the right there.
Yep.
I put that in there on that line so that once then it reads everything, and you also can change the colors up here. See the little grays and whites, because there are 2 settings on this one: a small and a big. In the same way with the stock one's a small and a big. And I'll switch over to the stock one and show you. And this is what this file looks like. It's just a picture file, and I put that on there. And the easiest one to actually see is the stock one, which is default. I'm looking for here. See if we can find default. Virtual. Where am I at, John? Here. Default, right there. So that's dark default. See if it's in there. Yeah, I think this is the right one. So we're going to open up that. Yeah, so this is what the default one looks like. Whoops. I'm not zooming in right there. Hold on here. I opened it with the wrong thing is what it was. And we're going to open with, where's my open with? Oh, I'd have to extract it to do that. But anyways, you're getting the gist there.
Yeah.
So it's within there. And then right here where it says virtual is where you would put your logo if you were going to make your own custom one off this stock one. The stock one's really easy to do. I wish I could figure out where what the stock regular one is. So it would be 4S or 2S. Might be this one. Nope, that's the regular. That's regular. But that's all it is, more or less. I don't mean to keep rambling on here, but it's just a picture file that you edit.
Mm-hmm.
And then once the program grabs the picture and the XML file, it takes all those things and puts them in the right spot. And again, if you don't like Virtual, has zillions of them that you can download. And they also have a device that you can actually create one from scratch. And it's a very easy modular drag a platter here, drag a platter there, drag a play button here, drag a play button there. And you literally can make your own from scratch, like putting it together with like Lego pieces if you choose to.
We like Legos.
Yeah.
Good to build.
Is that kind of...
Yeah, just checking. Just refreshing. Yeah, we got about 9:30 right now.
Also, feel free to throw ideas for other shows at me if you choose to. And also, if you are interested, I talk about this every week, that I do have online classes that I do that if you have any questions about them, I can send you the information on how we do them. But it's basically, it would look like this, where you see John and I, where it would be you and I just private by ourselves. And then I would have a camera that would be overshot like on our normal nights, not like tonight, where I'm set up a little different than we do rest of the time for our Wednesday night show. But I have a camera overhead over top of the controllers where you can see what my hands do. I share the screen, the software, so you're able to see that. So if you're interested in taking the classes, let me know. And also, again, if price-wise is too much, I do if you want to get together with a few friends and split the cost, I can do that. So.
Excellent.
So questions. Otherwise, I'm going to start playing stuff you don't like to hear. What was the one I grabbed the other day that was like, do I really own that? I don't remember what it was. It was stupid. This one, is it still in here? I think. because I want to, for Cheney and I, we all talked about this Monday night show. For those of you who don't know, dance music artist Avicii passed away at just 28. And I was thinking about different things, and I was thinking about how often I've played some of his songs. And I came across this mix a few years ago that I love, where it took Goatee's song, I Used to Know, and mixed it with his. And I thought it made a good little transition mix there. Well, that's kind of his there. And then at one point it jumps into... Right here, it comes into the Goatee, and then it jumps back out of Goatee and goes back into Levels.
Mm-hmm.
I could not tell you how many times I played that when that song was a hit. There was such a crazy big song, and it just, I don't know. We talked about it Monday night. This industry spits you out sometimes, and you got to be careful. So guard yourself in all ways. You know, even if you're not on the level that he is. You can, like I was talking about a friend of mine that has lately been working so hard that he's been falling asleep on the way home from gigs and while he's driving, and that's just as bad as anything else.
Oh yeah, that's
you know, take care of yourselves out there. It's important. I'm a firm believer in that because I'm a firm believer in guarding my sleep, guarding my stress, and I think that's why that I'm still able to do what I'm able to do at my age. Is just that I just won't let that crap in my life. That's all. And I think probably one of the biggest things that has helped me in life is never using Megaseg. I think that's probably one of the big. I'm sorry, I had to throw that in.
Just throw that in there.
So hit me up with your questions.
Chris has one. I'm wondering if you've played with the light control capability in Virtual DJ.
I have not done that yet. I've wanted to. I've talked to a friend of mine who is awesome when it comes to DMX stuff. And we've looked over things, and it's actually not as hard. If you know how to do DMX stuff, it's really quick. It's actually not as hard at all. So, because there's plugins, again, from going back to the virtual page, there's plugins for everything, but there's plugins for the multiple different types of lighting software, like a Freestyle or whatever. I think there's a couple of them in there, and you download that, and it then, you know, because it's the plugin, it links then with your Freestyle or whatever program you use, and then you start doing MIDI mapping to where in this area here, let me show it here. Share. All right, so you have the section right here that's called pads, okay? And these can be just about anything you want them to be. So if I go into edit, you're going to see all these different pads that I have. So if I just switch them over here, then this becomes anything I want. So over here, these, like I said, these are all the ones that are customized.
Right.
If I switch here and go to sampler, these pads then become samples. Or if I go to loop rolls, it then creates the 8th, 32nd, 16th loop rolls. So in the same sense that when you are doing the MIDI mapping, the DMXing of the lights, you then take this section here after you've created a light sequence, the same that you would do on an external board. You know, like you would put that, you know, to some sort of light control board. You would say,
yes,
this switch, this button. You assign that to these so that when you have a controller hooked up to it, or if you can do it with your mouse, that then instead of these being cue points or loop rolls or samples, these would then be light triggers. And that's all you would have to do then, is you would be triggering. You would be limited because you'd have 8, and I think you can do an over-under with the shift button over under and do 16. So you'd have 16 different light controls, but you could set them up to be whatever you want. You know, it's not going to be something that the average person who does, you know, full-size weddings and wants exact colors and exact stuff like that, it's not going to be as convenient as a full board. But if you're a simple single op like me and you want to be able to do that, that's the easy way to do it if you're able to do the DMX. And I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. I've heard, I can't verify this, but I've heard that right now Virtual is in works that they are putting an addition to the program that is exactly the same as Sound Switch is for Serato, which that's awesome too. The only downfall I found with Sound Switch is the cost of the box. Everything else is awesome. It really works well. It's convenient for that, but rumor has it that Virtual is working that direction too, which is different. Keep in mind, that's different than a DMXing program like, you know, Freestyle or whatever. So Sound Switch is different than that, but they're working towards that direction. But if you want more details on that, that's all I can know, because I suck at DMX. If you follow me at all online, I posted earlier this week a picture from last weekend when I did a dance, and I have the Chauvet gig bars, which come with their own little remote. And then I had another light that came with a little remote, and I had my 2 little remotes setting there for my lights for the gig. And I took a picture of it and then put lettering on it that says DMX. I don't need no stinking DMX. But like I said, I do the type of gigs where I don't have to worry about having this exact color, and I can control it enough with the gig bar to do that, because I had a section where they wanted the 3 different, it was a middle school dance, and each grade did a thing that they were competing for something. And all I did was with that gig bar is, instead of having the lights move constantly, I stopped them and then put them on a light color out on the floor, and that lit the floor a solid color, non-moving. And that's the extent of what I really need to do with mine. So it isn't too detailed. But if you, like I said, if you're someone who needs to really control it, this may not be an option for you. But as it goes down the road and they start to develop these things like the sound switch, it could make a single ops, where you can, when I know they have the stuff out there that you can use to switch between the automated and the manual. So you could do a section of the night where you're doing the colors on your little control panel, and then later on the night, just flip the switch and then let them go automatic. So they're out there. Anybody else?
You're wondering if the connection to connect the virtual DJ is going to be like a little box, like what the sound switch box is.
I would guess it's either going to be that, or with knowing virtual, I'm going to be honest with you, it could very well just be a USB to DMX plug.
Yeah, a little.
It could be, which I have one stuffed away here somewhere that I've never even tried. I got it and I've tried it about that much. And like I said, I suck at DMX. But knowing virtual, they would make it that simple. But I do believe that the box, the sound switch box, does a lot more than you think it does, because it's also working a lot of things in there in its own little computer that it's doing things. Because like I said, when the sound switch is, you're having a light, you can make it follow the beat, and then it detects the beat, and then you can tell it to do, every time the beat hits, it could be red, green on the drop, red, green, and you could change those colors, and then take that red and make it red, red, green, red, red, green, and you can make them so that it's automated that way with that program. Sure. So there's stuff in the box that does more than just listen to lights or just do what you want. It lets you, between the box and the software, really lets you do a lot. Cool.
Yeah.
I love these open question nights. I love being challenged like this. Yeah. I may do all of them. I may just start my own talk show. Well, John, we're going to do another show where I just answer questions all night long. Screw topics, and just answer questions.
The second show, the first one would be DJ related. The second one could be, anything.
I'll help you with your life relationships.
So MJ, if I were going to plant flowers in the backyard, what type of soil would it?
Well, that would all depend upon the flowers. It would all depend upon your region of the country, your pH level in the soils, and whether you want to do perennials or, sorry.
Yeah, just kidding. So today, you mentioned DJ from Algorithm, and I actually had to fire that up for a little bit today. And I haven't probably started the PC or the Mac version in a year. It's really impressive at what they've added to it. Yeah. You mentioned the simple software, and the IP, you can have a skin or a version up that's very simple.
Yeah.
And as I was clicking around, it's like, goodness, all of a sudden you're talking buttons and functionality at the level of some of the higher end software.
Yeah.
And yet
I think what makes people turn away from it is because the basic look of it looks a little cheesy. And I think that's the only reason that they made it simple so people wouldn't be overwhelmed, in the same sense of it not looking overwhelming. Other people who maybe have some experience with software think of it as being non-professional.
Yeah.
But it really does have a lot of power. I mean, I think you can download them for free and test it. So if you wanted to download it, on both either a phone or a tablet or something. Like I said, it's even a good thing to have on a tablet as a backup, because the way a lot of the tablets work now, that you can do an external hard drive, if you're doing the external hard drive for your DJ and something crashes, you have that laptop, you can pop that in with an on-the-go adapter or something like that, and, maybe get away with the night. Plus, also, keep in mind that Algorithm is the only DJ software that lets you have access to Spotify.
Yes.
So if something crashes and you do pay for your $10 a month or $15 a month for family Spotify account, you literally can spin off of that, like I showed earlier on here with Deezer. I didn't show it tonight, but another show.
Yep.
And I'm just grabbing stuff literally off the web that I don't even have. And that would, again, you always want to try to maximize your backups, but also minimize what you have to take with you.
Certainly.
And that is a very good balance of the two, I think, at least. Give it, like I said, go give it a try. It's the same way I tell people when they don't like virtual. My first question is, what version was the last version you tried? And a lot of them will go 5 or 6. And I'll tell you, anything prior to 7, I would not tell anybody. I wouldn't tell my worst enemy to use. But 7 and 8 are butt kicking good. So that's the same way with Algorithm. If you tried it a long time ago and say, oh, this is pretty crappy, just download for free while you're sitting watching TV. Play with it. Have fun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And again, it's a very inexpensive program.
I think the app is, gosh, how much is the app? It's not much.
Yeah.
I can tell you in 10 or 11 seconds here if I can make this thing open.
9,
Oops, I'm over there. That's
8,
why.
7.
Yeah, but anyways, just go look it up. It's there. I don't know where it's at, but it's there. Here we go. What's it called?
It's out at
DEEJAY?
Yeah, it's DJAY.
Yeah, it's a weird spelling.
Yeah, should have 2 J's and only has 1.
You can get the free version as app wise, and $2.99 for the paid Algorithm 2 DJ app, $2.99, and I'm guessing that the software is probably going to be close to that.
Oh, here's something actually interesting. We may have to dig into this a little bit. There is AutoMix AI, artificial intelligence with your mix.
Yeah, I reported on that when they come out with the 2, and it's kind of neat. I've had some people who tried it that said, I just saw a thing there about Deezer. I paid the same price for Deezer as Spotify, $9.99 a month, and I can show that here in a couple of seconds, show you an example of how that works. But the AI on that actually is kind of neat because it's not just auto mixing in the sense of beat matching this way. They have put 4 different patterns in there so that you can choose the auto mix to be different each time. So it might be an 8 count beat match, or it might be a quick fade, or it might be a cut. And you literally can let it choose and pick the best way to mix the 2 songs on the auto mix. I've had some friends that tried it and said it's not all that great, but again, you have to think of things the way you set them up. The same way that with virtual, I can choose where I want songs to mix in and out. And if I go in there in the points of interest editor and edit specific points, this start here, end here, and the song that I put next to it, I put start here, stop here, and it's the same as this, they will mix properly because you're doing the auto mix, but I'm predetermining how I want it to do it. The same way in Spotify, there are playlists in Spotify that if you put your fade mix on Spotify at 5 seconds and play their playlist, it will be a perfect beat match on every song because the person has created the cuts with the exact amount of space, intro and outro. And then when that 5-second auto fade across goes, they're already made to do that. In the same way that you can set Algorithm and you can set virtual up to do that if you take the time to do it. But if you just throw a hodgepodge of songs in there that are similarly the same BPM, it's going to sound like an auto mix. That's all there is to it. I'll show you the Deezer thing real quick here. So this is what it looks like, and it's a folder. It basically looks like a folder inside. So if I'm online, and that's what they put, personal use only. So that's not from me. That is from virtual, and that's in there. And I do believe that Spotify is going to come back whenever the right money hits the right pocket.
Yeah.
But basically, if I wanted to search for something, I would just highlight it and then search for anything I want. If I search for Michael Jackson, it brings up all these songs that he has. You can do karaoke versions, different things like that. And if I want to play them, it literally loads this fast. Grab another one, put it on the other side. And soon as that waveform gets finished, that song's playable. So people talk about, well, what about if your internet's sketchy? As long as that waveform is completed all the way to the end, that song can be played all the way to the end. So as long as you have something going on there, it just is going to drop in and play that fast. So none of these here are anything that I have on my computer right now. In the same way that if you want to do karaoke, I don't know if there's Michael Jackson karaoke. Yeah, so if you want to do a karaoke song, they're in here. So you're not going to have the words on these karaoke tracks, but it's just going to be the instrumentals.
Sure.
So if you do that. But I think that's kind of neat. And with iTunes dropping downloads at the end of this year and a lot of them going streaming, Google Play Audio is now switching to YouTube something or other, YouTube Red something or other. So that's also switching. So streaming, whether you think it's a good idea or not, because I personally believe you should have your own curated library of music. You absolutely should, because you can't always guarantee that the versions you want are going to be there week after week after week after week. You can't always guarantee that you're going to have a good connection, wherever you're at. But if you have a solid library of songs, you can use this as a backup, because there's nights when I've been out and I DJ certain kind of music most of the time. And I was at a place, and one of the staff, it was a fun little night where the staff was getting involved with everybody, and they wanted to hear a song, and it was like a 70s rock song or something, or maybe it was Shaka Khan. It was something I didn't have, but it was like, yeah, I absolutely would play it. By having this inside the program, I don't have to leave the program, go and download it. I can just drag and drop and play and beat match. I can beat match, I can scratch, I can set cue points just like as if it was a song in my computer. So I think it's something that you shouldn't shun, because I think there's a future to it. Absolutely, 100%, I believe there's a future to it. But I still believe in curating your own library to where you have that available all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, questions? We got a lot of people typing. Thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys coming to these shows. I mean, it just, I know in watching them later too, it's not quite as much as dropping the questions in here, but I do appreciate you guys checking the different things out, because I've been doing DJing for 30 years. Literally, last November was my 30th anniversary, the first time I ever got paid DJing. And I've just, from working with John over the past few years, realized that I have knowledge that I didn't even know I had. So it's nice to be able to share it, Plus, it's something I enjoy talking about. If you want to talk to me about vegetables, you probably won't get a long conversation. But
you never know.
Stuff and especially technology, I think that's my strong point with Disc Jockey News, is some of the stuff that I just kind of gravitate towards. How does that work, sort of thing, and I just dive in to see how it works. Whether I'll ever use it or not, because there's programs and apps and softwares and different things that I'm just curious about it and just dive in to see what it's like, and then never use it again. Or there's times I've done videos for Disc Jockey News, didn't even realize it. Somebody asked me a question. I'm like, well, I'm not even sure. Let me go look that up. And when I go type something into YouTube, I find my video I did a year and a half ago on it. And I'm like, oh, hey, here's this one. Go look at it. So
Content Unlimited from Virtual DJ.
Yes.
How would you correlate or kind of compare that to Deezer or Spotify?
This is the good thing, and I'll click over here and show you, because they're both in here. Because I'm not currently a subscriber to Content Unlimited, but I have been, so I have access to it. Let me go full screen. You can still see everything, right?
Yep.
All right, so it would be over here in the online music, and you could do the audio, the video, or the karaoke. Okay, so if I was just doing audio, I would click on that, search for something. Let's do Michael Jackson again. Oops, if I can spell Jackson properly. All right.
There's lots of country artists we could be searching for. They need some love too.
No. So here's like, if I drag and drop this, it's going to load just as fast as Deezer, but it's going to tell me that it can only load 10 seconds of it because I'm not a subscriber. So just to warn you, that's what's going to happen here. It's going to tell me I'm not a subscriber. Okay, thank you. And it will only load that much of the song over here. Okay, but it loads that quick. The advantages and disadvantages. Here's what I've found with Deezer. You really do have a lot more songs, because I subscribed to this for a month, because like I said, I want to try these things out. I found when I did a search for Men Without what's the men down
Safety Dance.
No, the other one, Men Without Hats. Is that what I'm thinking about?
Yeah, that's Safety Dance.
No, what's the other one? I'm come from the land down under.
Men at Work. Men at Work, yeah.
Men at Work. Okay, so I did a search for here at Men at Work. And they come up with these here, okay? So we have a short amount there. But if I go over to Deezer, we have a lot more to choose from. And that's the thing that Deezer, you will have a lot more to choose from than the record pool. But the advantage of the record pool is that you have clean versions that tell you what they are. The other one is just going to be whatever you would listen to. But with Content Unlimited and their iDJ pool and the Video Pro, you actually get them in that would be more oriented towards a DJ, where you can get clean versions, extended versions, outros, intros, mashups. And that's where with theirs, I think if they had the amount of content that like a Spotify or Deezer had in the DJ oriented style, oh my gosh, that would be so killer. But that's the difference, is that you may not get all the songs here on the Content Unlimited, where you would get it on the Deezer or the Spotify. But on here, it's stuff that's oriented towards DJing, clean versions, remixes, all kinds of stuff like that. That's what would be the advantage to this. And it does work just as well as anything. Like I said, I tried it for a month. It works just as well. So if you want that, that's definitely a way to go. And I've tried both. I'm debating on. I'm sorry, the difference is a couple dollars, because it's $9.99 for the Deezer, but the IDJ Pool Content Unlimited is $9.99 plus tax, so it ends up being like 11 something. So that's the only difference between them. Really.
Can Deezer be used offline? Can you download a few songs?
You don't really download them. You do download them, but you don't. So it's not like you download them and can use them elsewhere.
Okay.
Deezer and Spotify both have a thing where you will keep it offline, but can only use their programs to play it. So if you had Deezer like I have here, and you got a song to play offline, I could not play it outside of the virtual program, number one. And then number two, I would have to log on once a month and verify that I'm still a member to keep playing, because it will check you once a month. You have to log back in. So you could be offline for the whole month playing all your music. Get to the month point, and if you're not logged off, it's going to say, hey, you need to log back on. You don't have the ability to log back on. You can't touch the music until you log back on, showing that you have a full subscription. So it's kind of like that. So you don't really own them. You can't transfer them to another computer necessarily. They don't play off other programs. But it does work offline, technically offline, if you're using this program and their service. You don't for that month, the time period that you're subscribed to, you do not have to be online. So there, and I'm sure they both have lots of country. Like I said, with the Spotify and Deezer, obviously has a big country, any type of music, not just country, but any kind. But the Content Unlimited, I don't know what their country content is. Let me see. Just type in country. See what they have here. So they do have it's not a lot really. I mean, they have some in their genre. There's some country. There's not a lot. Brantley Gilbert. I don't know that one. Brent Eldridge. Shari White. I don't even know any of these, but they do have some. I would say there's probably a couple hundred in there in the Content Unlimited, but with the Deezer, there's a lot more, obviously, because Deezer actually has a bigger library of songs than Spotify does, but Spotify has way more subscribers. So I like Spotify better because it has more playlists, because I'm a type of person to go into Spotify, type in like ambient, electronic, acoustic, instrumental, and there'll be just endless playlists that people put together with that feeling, or angry music, and there's playlists of that, where Deezer doesn't have as many subscribers, so their playlists aren't as many playlists. But if you're just a person that goes in and looks for albums, they both have the exact same albums.
Last question, and we have to wrap up here.
No!
Yeah, ripping CDs. Reggie was wondering if Virtual DJ had a way to rip CDs, or
Reggie, I love you, brother, but I couldn't even tell you, because I literally probably have not touched a CD since 2009.
Yeah, I was thinking.
So I really don't know what you could do with virtual and CDs. I don't know how that works. There's endless amounts of software out there. Your computer probably already has one on it that can rip, and rip at a good quality too, keep in mind. One of the softwares that I've always used, and I still to this day really like, is what's it called? AMP. Crap on a stick. Let me think here for a second. I have to right click. And it's a right click app. DB Power Amp. I'll show it real quick so you can see the screen here. Mm-hmm. And it does ripping, it does song converting, it does everything. So you choose what you want it to convert it to. You can add different sorts of effects that if you need to add a different effect, like, maximum length or, a certain effect, you can do. But the cool thing about it is that it's all off right click. So if I wanted to convert this song, which is a video right here, and want to convert it to an MP3, I would right click on it, convert to, and then convert whether I want an MP3, consistent bit rate, or variable bit rate, or whatever, sure. And then click convert, and it would convert it. but it also works with CDs too. So I can do the same thing with the CDs. I can rip that way. That's what I would choose. It costs a little bit, but I think that to me, that right click convenience is there. But as far as virtual and CDs, I have no idea. That's a good question that I think that my brain's now going to want to find out.
Well, I think that will wrap us up for tonight.
Thank you, guys. Great questions. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, we had some really, really good stuff in there tonight. And we still got to talk about important things like country music.
But we talked about both country and Megaseg tonight, so this is a complete full circle.
Yeah,
we went from Avicii to country music to CDs and we covered it all.
We've gone old, wow. And all for the price of one show. That's awesome.
There you go. Yes.
Well, thank you guys for being with us tonight. We'll be back in about 5 minutes with Jeremy and Dave. They're going to be talking about wedding music and how they put their music together and choose what they're playing at weddings when it comes to balancing all the different people who are at those events. So we'll be back in 5. Thanks for watching.
Tonight's DJNTV show is sponsored in part by Electro Voice, DJ Event Planner, ADJ, NLFX Professional, Promo Only, Newmark, and DJNTV Insiders.